Good morning, good morning, good morning, you guys. Look, I forgot to turn the light on behind me. If it's too dark, let me know. I'll get up and turn it on. What's up? What's up? What's up? We are about to get into this Raising Kanan. I told you guys I have a busy weekend, so I was like, let me go ahead and get this out the way. I watched it last night when I got home. Shout out to my girls last night. We went to dinner. We had a great time. See all me. I see Cheryl and Tia in the chat. We had a good time, you guys. We really did. I'm gonna say we were celebrating Juneteenth. I mean, when our waiter came over to the table and said, are y'all celebrating anything special?" I said, "Yeah, we celebrating Juneteenth." He said, "Well, happy Juneteenth." I said, "Well, okay." So anyway. Also, if you are coming to the event in July, we're counting the days, you guys. We are less than a month away. For those who already purchased tickets, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. For those who donated tickets, again, thank you so much. Those tickets have been given out to people. If you would like to donate a ticket, if you are not living in the DC area, but you want to support the event, you can either click that link and donate a ticket, or you can just send me a Cash App if you just want to send a monetary donation to support the event. The venue is paid for, but we're having other things there, food and things of that nature. So if y'all want to put money towards, or just put money towards the event, let me just leave it at that. There is a discount code because we're having a Juneteenth sale. So if you've been waiting to buy your ticket because you were like, "Oh, that's a long way away. I got time." Okay, we got a month left. So go ahead. Get you a ticket. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's get into this. So last night's episode of Raising Kanan, I thought was a really good episode, if I'm being very honest. I made a couple of predictions last week that I didn't think it would be this soon, but I was kind of right about my predictions last week. So let's go ahead and get into it. We know last week we started off with the funeral. Lulu is gone. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. But some things are really interesting. So we start this episode off. We have Unique visiting P and Jerome. I don't know. They look like they're somewhere like maybe upstate New York or something like that. I mean, it's somewhere in driving distance that he can get there in a couple of hours. They're like in the woods or whatever. But I'm sure the whole purpose was to let us know that she went somewhere very remote, very secluded, hard to find. Unique's son is not feeling it. And I want to say something. I know we don't give Pranisha a lot of credit for a lot of things, but I think the way she handled this situation between Unique and Jerome, I have to give her an A+ on that. I have to say that, and I'm gonna give Unique an A+ too, because Unique didn't force it. Like a lot of times men, they get in their feelings, they get in their ego, and they be like, "You need to talk to me, son. I'm your father, son. Like, well, you're not gonna ignore me." But it was like Unique understood. I mean, Jerome, on top of all the other trauma that this baby done been through, he literally watched his father gun down somebody in front of him. And yes, him and his mom were being held at gunpoint and stuff like that. But I think she did a really good job of saying, "Listen, you have to give him time. He loves you, but he's been traumatized. And not just from this last event. Like, our life has been trauma, since this baby got in here." And I think I love that she was able to tell him, "Look, you have to give him time to really process." She said, "I think he likes it here." She said he slept through the night for the first time in, a really long time. And so, you got to remember this baby was living in the lap of luxury with, before Unique got messed up, going back to season 1. And then, they had the situation with season 1. They lost the apartment, they lost everything, and then just when they were starting to get things together and feeling good, here come Ronnie crazy ass. He all up in the house, got you scared to even come out your bedroom. And then after that situation, then Unique disappears. You don't know whether he alive or dead. You don't know whether he walked away. You don't know whether he on the other side of town with another hoe. You don't know what's going on with him. But what you do know is that Ronnie's still in this house, and Ronnie fancy as hell. Okay. And so now you move back in with your mama. You went from living in a high-rise luxury, and within a matter of 2 years, now you back living with your mama, gotta walk to the laundromat, right? And then you kind of get it back. Right, Ronnie scared the hell out of Jerome too. Then you kind of get it back a little bit, and now then we right back where we started. And so it's easy for people to be like, well, she know what she signed up for. She's a hustler's hoe. But at the end of the day, like she said, I've known you since middle school, which means I've known you since before all of this. And like she said, listen, I ain't never believed nothing you said. Okay. It wasn't what you said. It was that I love you. So I followed you into the fire. I followed you into situations that I probably shouldn't have because I loved you. Not because I really believe nothing that came out your daggone mouth. Thank you for the cash app. For the super chat. Everyone knows that Rock was smashing cops and ops in the Thomas family. Wait a minute. Everyone knows that Rock was smashing cops and ops. Okay. Thank you for the super chat, baby. Thank you, DeMarcus. So finally, Pernicia says, listen, she said, look, let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just get out of here. We can walk away from all of this. And Unique was like, what and do what? Like, and do what? He was like, this is all I know. And she said, well, what I do know is you are smart, which Unique is smart. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. She said, I know that you're smart. And what I know is if you hadn't been born where you were born, South Side, West Side, wherever, I think South Side. She said, you were probably a doctor or a lawyer somewhere. Like your circumstances dictated how you ended up, not your mental capacity to do something different. And he was like, yeah, but that's where I was born and that's where I'm going to die. And he got ready to leave. And as he got ready to leave, Jerome wouldn't say goodbye to him. And you could see that Unique was really bothered by it. Like you could see how upset he was, Oh, you know what? I forgot about that too, Xavier. That season 1, Marvin shot at Unique while Jerome was, but yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah. So just as Unique is getting ready to go, Jerome comes running out the house and he gives him a hug. And Unique was like, you don't know how badly I needed this. Like, you just don't know. And I'm not going to say in that moment something switched. I'm going to tell you when something switched. Well, in my opinion, when it switched. I'm going to tell you when I think it switched. We're going to get to that. I think in that moment, Unique needed that because, he at the end of the day, he loves his son. You know what I mean? And I think he needed that because I think the thought of his son permanently not effing with him was going to really mess with him. Jukebox exposed that Rock was smashing Unique to Marvin wasn't feel that. Jukebox was trying to convince Marvin that Unique don't eliminate Lulu. Okay, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, DeMarcus. So then we get Phil Russo's farewell. Sha-na-na-na, hey, goodbye, right? We all knew, everybody should have known what was getting ready to happen. Phil is getting ready to leave the house. He gets into an argument with his wife, and she was like, well, you get to go somewhere. I get to stay stuck in this house. And he was like, you know what? If you want to go out there and you want to take your chances, go ahead. Go on out there. Take your chances. I'm trying to keep you safe. And she was like, well, she starts crying. They get into an argument and she starts crying and he immediately apologizes. He's like, I'm so sorry. And she was like, look, I'm scared. He was like, I understand. He was like, but I'm really trying to do what we need to do so that we can be safe. Like, I know you're scared. I get it. And then they start going down memory lane about, how long they've been together and how they met and how much they love each other and how they've been. I said, okay, this is it. I said, Phil gone. Phil is gone. Now, I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but when he got in the car, I knew as soon as he got in the car that his driver, I said, "Oh, this is about to be a wrap." I said, "The driver's on this." Now I thought the driver was just gonna turn around and hit him with the 1-2. You know what I'm saying? But then when the driver said, "Boss, do you mind if we go through the drive-through? I'm hungry." I knew then. I said, "They're gonna get him in that drive-through." I said they're gonna get him in the drive-through, because I mean the car's standing still. You don't have to worry about, but so they got him. Phil is gone. Okay, Phil Russo is no more, but we knew that was gonna happen unless they was gonna give us a full-on mob war over 3 or 4 episodes. We knew that was about to happen. What's up, Pat? Good morning. Now, while this is going on, Rock. And this is why I messes with Rock. And this is why I tell people all the time, there will be no Rock slander. Okay. There will be no Rock slander because Rock knows how to pivot and she knows how to evaluate a situation and she knows how to pivot. Okay. She's down there talking to Sal and she's like, listen, I'm regrouping. I'm getting everything straight. But I want to make sure we good. And Phil was, and Sal is like, yeah, no, I don't want no parts of this. I don't want no parts of this. I don't want no parts of you. He was like, I'm out the business. Like, no. He was like, you're not welcome here. You can't do no business here. Because she even tried to say, you're not the only game in town. And he was like, I tell you what, you right. I might not be the only game in town, but if I find you down in my territory trying to sell something, it's gonna be hell to pay. He was like, it's gonna be a full-on war because I'm gonna get all my troops in line and it's gonna be a wrap. Rock knows she's got to pivot. And what's the old saying? My mother says it all the time. She said it's a sorry, something like I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember her exact words, but something like it's a sorry rat that only has one hole to crawl in. Something along those lines. Hold on a second, y'all. Hold on. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. So I knew then. I said the thing, and this is the thing that I love about Rock. Rock knows that she has to pivot, and so she immediately starts figuring out. All right, fine. Queens is gone. I can't do this. I can't afford a mob war. Like I'm not in a position to afford a mob war. What is it that I'm going to do now? While this is going on, Kanan is sitting up in his little apartment and the police roll through. Now, it's some same police officers that Rock got on payroll. So he immediately knows that Rock sent the cops to come and shut him down. Number one, let's just assume for a minute that Rock didn't send them cops. Sir, you've been in that same apartment for what, 2 years now? And we done told y'all a long time ago. Well, he moved out, but Crystal was the one that told you had to stop living where you working. Like, so yeah, Rock sent the cops because those are the same cops she got on payroll. But y'all give Rock too much credit. Rock is a rat. Why? Because she was with Kanan Daddy 20 years ago. I don't think I give Rock too much credit, but you entitled to your opinion. So they pick Kanan up and they take him down to little shop to, scare him a little bit, tell him he need to shut his business down, yada yada yada. Now I'm gonna say this. I think this might have been the first crack in the foundation because Kanan is like, oh, so y'all about to do me like y'all did my boy Famous. And the cop was like, what you talking about? Like, I don't know I don't know what a Famous is. He was like, and he says Famous is like whole government name, right? And he was just like, y'all took him out. That was my best friend. They were like, listen, I don't know what a Famous is or who a Famous is or what. He said, I don't know nothing what you talking about. And the look on Kanan's face was like, you could tell that the wheel was turning a little bit, like, because it was the way the cop said it. Because let's be clear, they don't have no reason to deny it. They don't have no reason. They don't have no reason to like, now, do I think that Kanan has totally? No, absolutely not. But I do think there was a little first crack in the foundation of, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, and even when something else he said, something else that they said, and the cop was like, and Kanan's face was like, what you, but again, first little crack, but again, at the end of the day, it's not the full on. It ain't gonna stop Kanan from hating his mama. Like, we ain't there, okay? But definitely, I think, Rock sent Officer Buckley to Roland to disrupt Kanan's business. Yeah, but she told Kanan that. Listen, let me tell you something. That to me is not. That's not Rock being a rat. All of them have police officers on their payroll. Every single one of them got cops on the payroll. There's no way that they function without having, even when we get later to this episode, when we get to Manhattan with the mob boss in Manhattan and what's her name? Siegel, the madam. Both of them were like, yeah, I got the cops. Having the cops on payroll is not a rat. And her sending the officers over there to rattle Kanan, she told Kanan, oh, this is war. Like, this is war. So I ain't mad about that. Whatever. See, that's the thing. See, here's the thing. Kanan did not realize how much he was being protected through Marvin, Lou, Rock, even though he wasn't effing with them. He did not realize how much they were protecting him. And now he's going to understand, and now he's going to see that invisible shield that you didn't know was there, that you didn't know people were still looking out for you, it's gone. So, yeah, I wasn't mad about that. Took him to the place where B Rilla was eliminated. Yeah, that's where he was. Yep, that is exactly where he was. Every season, I'm further convinced that Ghost and Tasha were right for setting Kanan up with his son. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something. I knew after season 2, I said, oh, well, I understand now why they set Kanan ass up. Like, listen, I understand. I absolutely understand now why Kanan got set up. And they were right. And it looks like they were, I mean, we ain't got there yet. Obviously, we got a long way to go before we get there. But hell, it looks like they might have been right in taking out Breeze. But we ain't got there yet. Right, Xavier, no more Guardian and Angels. Okay. Right. Snaps and Pops got people on the pay. All of them. There's no way that you function a criminal enterprise and you don't have police. You got police. I'm sorry. Like, it just don't happen that way. Now, while that's going on, we have Officer Dogood that's been following behind Jukebox. He done went down. Is it Aisha? I feel like Aisha's not her name. Over to Jukebox's girlfriend house. And he done told the parents about the Thomas family and how dangerous the Tom Garcia. Yeah. Officer Dogood Garcia. Thank you. Over to the Thomas family and how horrible. Okay, I had it right, Aisha. How horrible the Thomas family is and the criminal enterprise, and that they into this and they into that and this and this, and that they need to keep Jukebox away from Aisha because she gonna run into some trouble. And of course, the parents did what parents are gonna do. Like, I'm sorry, if the police show up at my house and tell me that my daughter is involved in somebody that's, their family is involved in a criminal enterprise and they got all of these things going on, and the uncle her daddy and her auntie and the other uncle just turned up, unalive. Like, I could understand why her parents were like, yeah, no, that's a wrap on this. Because they, like, I'm not mad about it. Aisha goes to Jukebox and basically tells her, listen, this is what they did. And my parents don't want me to see you anymore. And, every year every season, I should say, every season we get a little bit more insight into how we got to the jukebox that we met in the original Power. Every season we get closer and closer to understanding how we got there. And this is another check in that box of how Jukebox became the cold-hearted, don't give a damn about nobody person that she became. Right? Because when Aisha comes to her, she does the selfless thing. And she basically says, well, listen to your parents. Don't come around me no more. They right. Your parents are right. Your parents are right to not want you to be around me. And Aisha was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, she's sitting there crying. And Jukebox was just so cold. She was just like, you don't mean that. Jukebox was like, yeah, I do. I mean it. And when Aisha left, I was waiting for Jukebox to kind of break down or have some sort of an emotion. And she didn't. That doesn't mean she didn't feel nothing, but she didn't give us no emotion. She just didn't give it to us, right? Rock and Marvin have all this work that they're trying to figure out what to do with. And that's when Rock was like, look, I have an idea. I know what I want to do. And that's when we see her putting her plan together about going to Manhattan. And, Marvin was like, you're going to have to deal with the mob in Manhattan. Like Sal that already said, she said, Sal don't run that. She was like, and as much as the mafiosos try to act like they, one band, one sound, and we all big happy family, at the end of the day, they really not. At the end of the day, they'll go against each other just as fast as anybody else. So, I'm good. She was like, I'm going to go talk to some folks over there. And, and like she said, Marvin, and at the end of the day, I'm cleaning up your mess. Because remember, the situation with Sal fell apart because of Marvin doing the side work. And he ended up unaliving the numbers runner, situation. So it was the whole thing. Silas did Stefano. I'm sorry, Stefano. I'm sorry. I said Sal. I missed Stefano, y'all. My bad. Stefano. Thank you, DeMarcus. Stefano. Okay. Don't put it in the comments. I corrected myself at the 25-minute mark. Thank you, DeMarcus. Thank you. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, Stefano. Yeah. Okay. The fact that she didn't break tells me that there's no going back. Yeah, I think we're done with seeing, because something she did, we're going to get to that in a minute. Something she did with Marvin made me be like, so we'll get more to Rock and her playing with the Italians. There's a meeting down at the hospital with Snaps, Pops, Breeze, and Kanan. Taz is not invited to the meeting. Taz was not included in this meeting. And they were meeting with Stefano down to the hospital. Now, Taz, you actually should have seen the writing on the wall when you effed up the re-up last week, okay? Because people in the game have been unalived for less. You messed up the whole re-up. So, I don't understand why you didn't kind of see the writing on the wall with this one. But he was not included in the meeting. We'll get back around to Taz and what Taz got going on. But basically, Stefano lets them know, listen, I appreciate y'all coming to me with the business opportunity. I appreciate the respect. But at the end, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Like, I'm done with fooling with y'all. I still want my cut. He was like, y'all still allowed to do business in my territory, and I still want my cut. I'm just not helping y'all. I'm not providing I'm not giving y'all no help on the docks. I'm not providing no trucks. I'm not providing no men. Like, handle the business the way you need to handle your business. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Something else happened in that meeting that I wanted to tell y'all. Stefano, of course, they bring up Unique, and Stefano was like, Stefano brings up Unique, and he was like, look, I heard that Unique is a part of y'all little crew, and I ain't really got no love for him. Like, he was in bed with Russo, and I ain't really got no love, like, what's up with that? And they were like, listen, this ain't no friendship. It's just business. Like, it ain't nothing. And Stefano lets them know he ain't really feeling that. Like, that could affect the business relationship if Unique is around. Right. They basically told him Unique gotta go. Okay. Now, he acknowledges that he knows who Kanan is, that kind of thing. I feel like something else happened. But anyway, so there's that. Now, here was the interesting conversation we had down to the house. We have Marvin and we have Jukebox. I feel like Jukebox was trying to set Rock up. Because Jukebox was like, we out here trying to figure out. Oh, and the other thing Rock said was that they were going to start using the club to start selling their product out the club. And Marvin was like, Lulu wouldn't love that. And she was like, Lulu would want us to eat. Like, Lulu would want us to eat. So Jukebox is telling Kanan, like, I mean, not Kanan, sorry. Jukebox is telling Marvin, like, so what are we doing? Like, what's the word on the street about Lulu? And Marvin is like, listen, I don't know, but we got work to do. Like, I don't know what's going on, And she was basically like, stop lying. You know it was Unique. I know it was Unique. You know it was Unique. So what we doing about it? And he was like, look, he was like, listen, I think it's Unique, and I don't know where Unique is, but in the meantime, in the between time, we still got business to handle. Like, I ain't forgot. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't forgot about Lou, but I got business to handle. So then Juke was like, well, Rock and Unique used to, F around. And Marvin, I think in that moment, Marvin understood, like, what you trying to say? Like, what is it that you want from me? He said, listen, okay, yeah, I know. I knew about it. I know about it. What you want me to do? He was like, tell me what you want me to say and tell me what you want me to do so I could go ahead and say it, so I could go ahead and do it, so we can be done with this conversation so I can get back to eating my dinner. But the look, like, he's looking at you at Jukebox like, what you trying to do? Like, are you trying to get me to go take care, unalive my sister? And Juke has this look on her face like, because what Juke knows is the last thing I did was I told Rock Lou was on his way over there. No, I mean, last thing I told Lou what was going on, and Lou said he was heading over there. And I know that Kanan was there, and I know that Rock was there. But neither one of them are acting like they know what happened. And I know if Lou said he was on his way, Lou was on his way. Lou wasn't going to make no pit stops. Lou wasn't going to stop through the drive-thru. He wasn't going to get a cup of coffee. He was going to go straight to Rock's house, do not pass go, do not collect $200. So something happened. And she, in her heart of hearts, believes that between Kanan and Rock, one of them know what happened. Now, I don't know why she don't think it was Kanan. I don't know why she's so quick to think that Rock would do it over Kanan. I don't know. Maybe she think Kanan ain't got the heart. I don't know. But she definitely, and I was just like, wow. But she definitely was trying to get Marvin to start questioning Rock. But Marvin doesn't believe Rock will have anything to do with getting rid of Lou. Let me say this. Two things I believe to be true. The first thing I believe to be true is I think that Marvin believes that Rock has it in her to do it. But I also think that if Rock was going to take out Lou, it would have been 2 seasons ago when Lou was a bumbling drunk, riding around the streets, getting into trouble. If Rock was going to make the call, and remember, she chose rehab. Remember, she was like, something got to give. And she chose rehab rather than the other option. So I think in Marvin's mind, if Rock was going to get rid of him, that's when Rock would have got rid of Lou. Like, why would she do it now? But the other side is, I don't think that Marvin can, in his mind, accept a world where Rock would take out their brother. You know, like, everything will be shattered. There will be nothing left for Marvin to live for if he could wrap his brain around Rock doing that. Do I think that Marvin has some doubts? Yeah. I think he has some doubts about what happened. I don't. Do I think that he fully believes that Unique did it? I think at first he did. I think that's going to be the case. I do think Marvin will figure out that Rock is protecting Kanan. Because let me tell y'all something. And we'll get to this. We'll get to this in a second. We'll get to that in a second. But while this is going on, so I was like, wow, and that's why I said this episode right here was a hard pivot for Jukebox. We've got the Aisha thing, and then we've got this situation where she's straight up putting Rock on a platter. She is straight up serving Rock up like, while this is going on, Rock done went down to the script club, and she done rolled up on one of the scripters to get information on how things move down to the Manhattan as it relates to who's running the girls, who she need to talk to, who she need to get in good with. And she gets the name Flossie Siegel. Flossie Siegel is the madam down to the Manhattan. And the scripter lets Rock know, listen, things move a little different in Manhattan. She said, look, you need a 4-year degree to be tricking down to the Manhattan. She was like, I can't even get in down there. You know, I stay on the outskirts. And so Rock, again, and this is why I say I give Rock credit, because Rock does her research. Rock knows who the players are. She knows the angle. She knows her playbook. She has her business plan set up. That's what when I give Rock credit, and I understand people who don't feel like Rock deserves the credit, but I really feel like Rock looks at the chessboard. Rock is not playing checkers. Rock is playing chess. Rock's biggest problem is Marvin and Kanan. If Rock didn't have to clean up behind Marvin and Kanan, Rock would have been good. She was fine until Kanan decided he wanted to be part of the business. Even with Marvin being a hothead, I think she was able to keep Marvin in a box. But Rock was fine until she had to worry about cleaning up, because she would have her chessboard set up a certain way, and then Kanan would come in and fuck it up. Or Marvin would come in and fuck it up. And so now she got to play cleanup. And once she cleans up, the chessboard is fucked up, and she got to reassemble and change up her strategy. Y'all, you see what I'm saying? Jennifer introduced Rock to Flo. Who the fuck is Jennifer? Y'all be remembering all this stuff. Listen, I'm sorry. Who is Jennifer? Remind me, DeMarcus, who is Jennifer? Because Jennifer is the go. Jennifer is the what? Xavier, you got to be more Xavier. You telling me Jennifer is the hoe does not tell me nothing. Do you know how many hoes? be on the show. Yeah, I know Rock. I know Rock got. I know Rock found out about the stripper through Marvin. She said that. I gotta stop reading the chat because y'all throwing me off because I don't know what you're saying. All right, so Marvin got on drugs and locked up. Kanan popped buck 40, which started all this mess. Lulu was solid until he got a conscience. Right? Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought y'all was saying somebody different. DeMarcus, you throwing me off, baby. You're helping me with the names, but you throwing me off with somebody because you were like Jennifer. I don't know that whole name. I don't need to know the scripper's name. She the scripper. She the scripper. We ain't gonna see her no more. Well, we might see her, but she the scripper. Okay. I love you, DeMarcus, but that threw me off. Okay. I thought y'all was trying to tell me something that I missed, like in a different season or something. Okay. So, but yeah, she said that. She said Marvin Thomas is my brother. Like she said that. I knew that was through Marvin, but I just didn't think that was important. What's up, Tawanda? Hey, boo. Oh Lord, it's blurry. Yeah, Jennifer's the scripper. Okay. Oh, this camera. Hold on, y'all. Here we go. I hope it's clear on y'all side. Right. The chat be helping me when it comes to the names. I'm not gonna lie, but sometimes I'll be like, what? All right. So Rock has her sit down with the mob boss down to the Manhattan. And, he said, listen, I didn't already talk to Stefano. And Stefano basically said, you're not that, like, he ain't had nothing nice to say. And Rock was like, well, hell, I ain't got nothing nice to say about him, too. But I'm not here to really do that. Like, I'm not here to spend my time talking about him. Like, I'm here to talk to you about setting up business. And, he lets her know that he is apprehensive, that she's apprehensive about it, but at the same time, that he's apprehensive, but at the same time, he was like, look, if you do business here, he's like, first of all, Manhattan is a different clientele. Like, you can't just, like, we got money down here, and we expect a certain level of, catering to and quality. Like, you can't just be coming through here on doing whatever. And they come to a tentative agreement, I will say. And he says, listen, I want my cut. And he said, but you're responsible for building your own. You're responsible for building your own clientele. And she was like, well, I got an idea about it. What do you know about Flossie Siegel? And so we end up seeing Rock meeting up with Flossie Siegel. And it was a good meeting. And, basically she was like, listen, I know who you are. I know what you do. Yeah, Joaquin. I hope I said his name right. Yeah, he introduced. That's how Rock knows who the person is. The mob boss down to the Manhattan. She meets with Flossie, and basically Flossie was like, "Listen, you ain't the first person to come through here and want to use my girls to move your product." She was like, but the difference is all the other times those were men. And I know that men come through here, eventually they want to take over my business. And if they start wanting to take over my business, then I got to take them out. And I really don't want that. She was like, I really don't like getting into the drug game really is not that appealing to me, because at the end of the day, I got the cops in my back pocket. And even if I do eventually get busted for this, she was like, the money, the time I would do in jail for this is a whole lot different than the time I would do in jail for, drugs. But she said basically she was like, but I'm open to this partnership because I love women, and I love seeing women doing the damn thing and women entrepreneurs, and I'm all about that women empowerment and support. But she did throw that little threat out there to Rock and let Rock know, but if you overstep, that's it. Oh, Jennifer Tilly would be funny as Flossie. So Marvin is down at the bar, and let me tell you something. Old girl down to the bar is not stupid. She knows what they're doing, and he tells her, "Listen, we're gonna buy you out. We're gonna give you fair market value." And she was like, Lou wouldn't want this. Like, Lou would not like this at all. And he was like, "Look, you right. You right. I don't really want to do this. But at the end of the day, this is what has to be done. This is what has to be done." And you can see that Marvin is not okay with it. You can see that he's really struggling with the decision to use the bar. But it is what it is. Rock said, "Listen, we got to eat. The bar belong to us. We got to eat." Kanan is back up and moving and grooving. Okay. They moved him to a different location, but he got his work. He's still, the guys are still going out on their scooters, moving their work. We see Breeze doing a pickup of some pills, and when they're in the car, let me rewind. I missed the part. Unique rolls up on Breeze and he says, "Why wasn't I included in that meeting at the hospital? Why didn't anybody tell me about the meeting?" He said, "At the end of the day, if we supposed to be business partners, how was everybody at that meeting except for me?" He said, "So I see what you're doing. You setting me up to push me out. Like, I'm not stupid. I understand what's going on here. Because if we were really business partners, if this was really going to be an equal situation, I'd have been at that meeting. I'd have known about that meeting." And Breeze lets it be known then. Breeze was like, "Listen, bro, let's just go ahead and be honest. You don't have no juice. I'm your only option. So yeah, the partner thing was a courtesy. Let's not forget who's really in charge and who's not in charge. Because if I cut you off, you ain't got nowhere to go." And at that moment, I think that is where the pivot comes in for Unique. Unique definitely sees the writing on the wall. He definitely understands he can't go back to Rock. One, he don't trust Rock. Two, they trying to, they think he took out Lou, so they trying to kill him. And he really does not have any other options. We're going to get to that in a second. So Breeze is in the car with Taz, and Breeze tells Taz, he said, "Listen, you the one that told Unique about that meeting. Nobody else knew about the meeting other than you that wasn't in the meeting." He said, "And nobody in the meeting would have told Unique. So you're the only person. You told Unique about that meeting." He said, "I just asked him why he wasn't invited." He said, "I just asked him if he knew about it." Breeze was like, "So you feel like you getting pushed out? Like, that's what this is? You feel like you getting pushed out?" Taz was like, "I know I'm getting pushed out. Like, I know what's happening. It ain't no feeling. I know what's happening." He was like, "You don't," he said, "You worrying about the wrong shit." He said, "You spending time worrying about what I got going on over here with Unique. And that really should be the least of your worries." He says, "You got other shit to be worried about." And in that moment, I was like, I don't think we're going to see Taz no more. I think we can go ahead and get that program together for Taz. Now, we didn't see him anymore this episode, and we didn't see him being taken out. But I don't have a whole lot of faith that we're going to see Taz too much more. I'm just saying. So, Unique rose up on Kanan. And Unique, and let me tell you something. This is how I knew Unique was desperate. And this is when I said, at the end of this conversation, I already knew what was going to happen is what happened. Unique rose up on Kanan, and he tries to tell Kanan, "Listen, bruh, they using us. They pushing us out. They know they can't. They didn't want to go to war with us because they didn't. They want to get our people in line. They want to infiltrate our organization, and then they're going to push us out." And he was like, "Me and you need to link up, and we need to." And I knew then. I said, "Unique, you don't really mean that." Because Unique, Kanan's stupid. Like, Unique has no respect for Kanan. at least for Rock, he has respect for Rock, and he know Rock know the game, but he just can't trust Rock. He really does believe that Rock has something to do. I don't know why everybody give Rock all this credit that she don't deserve, but okay. But he really does think that Rock was the one that tried to take him out. Even though he knows that Ronnie, but anyway. But when Unique figured it out. Did y'all see that? Unique was like, your family is looking for me because they think I took out Lou. He said, so why are you sitting here talking to me and you being all calm? He said, unless you know I didn't have nothing to do with it, because I didn't have anything to do with it. He said, but if you know I didn't have nothing to do with it, then maybe you know who did. He said, did Rock do it? Did Marvin do it? He said, hold on. Did you do it? And I think in that moment, he knew. Kanan gave himself away by his response. The way Kanan responded when Unique said, did you do it? Kanan's whole demeanor and his whole response said, yeah, it was me. His whole demeanor was like, ding, 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 you got me. It was in that moment, Unique was like, yeah, let me get the fuck up out of here. I think all of those things added up, but I think that was the final nail in the coffin that made me, because first of all, for him to even go to Kanan and say, let's link up, tells me how desperate he was. Because again, we already know that Kanan can't handle this shit. Kanan has no game. Kanan can't do this. And Unique knows it. Unique has no respect for Kanan at all. So when Unique walks off, then we see him meet up with his boy. I know DeMarcus is going to tell me his name. You know, Unique knew that Kanan eliminated Ronnie, and Unique didn't eliminate Kanan. Unique was capping. Wait a minute. Unique knew that Kanan eliminated Ronnie, and Unique. Well, why would he eliminate it? I mean, why? Shit, Ronnie tried to kill him. So we see Unique talking to his partner from Jersey. And old boy was like, look, the block is hot. They looking for you. They think, you know, they coming for the whole organization. They think that we took out Lulu. It's just not. He said, I'm going to go lay low in New Jersey for a while till this whole thing blow over. And he said, you need to go ahead and find some. Akbar, thank you. You need to go ahead and find something to do. Like, you need to do the same. And Unique was like, I ain't trying to run. I ain't about running. And he said, baby, Akbar said the realest thing. And this is when I knew. He said, sometimes, I'm paraphrasing because I remember his exact words, but he said sometimes running to something is how you get out of something. Something along those lines. But basically he was saying running away ain't no shame in running away. It ain't no shame in leaving a situation that's no longer serving you. And I was like, yeah, Unique is gone. And remember, I said that last week, y'all. We had that. Y'all can go back to my review last week. And I said that it's only two ways that we see Unique leaving up out of here. And I said either Unique doesn't make it out, or Unique is going to go get his girl and his son, and he going to ride off into the sunset. Did I not say that last week? Y'all can go roll the beautiful bean footage. Y'all can go roll that beautiful bean footage. I said last week, because I also said we had a whole conversation at the end of my review last week. I also said when we get to, you know, they getting ready to do Legacy with Tariq and Tommy. They're getting ready to do Legacy. And I said, wouldn't it be interesting for some people to make cameos that might still be alive? Like, legit, people could still be alive in 2026 that was running the game in the 90s. I mean, hello, I was alive in the 90s. Hello, you know what I mean? So it's not like people can't still be very much alive and doing things. And I was like, wouldn't it be interesting? I said, if Unique makes it out, because we didn't know, obviously, at the time, but wouldn't it be interesting to get a cameo from Unique? character in Legacy. Maybe he went to Chicago and set up shop. I don't know why I said Chicago. Maybe because Chicago's on my mind. Maybe he just went to another town and set up shop. But we'll get to that. So Marvin is putting money on the streets to find out where Unique is. He is still looking for Unique. He has not stopped. He's putting money on the streets to look for Unique. Unique is that's when Marvin finds out that Akbar went to Jersey. So Marvin rolls up on Akbar to try to find Unique. Akbar is like, look, I'm trying to, like he was talking shit at the bar before Marvin came up in there. He was talking shit. Marvin comes through there and he was like, listen, tell me where Unique is and I'll let you finish your drink. Before I take you out. Akbar was like, you gonna let me finish my drink before you take me out? He was like, y'all hear that? He gonna let me finish my drink before he take me out. And of course, Marvin took out the whole bar. But before Akbar died, and this is what I don't understand. Here's what's stupid. Clearly, Akbar told Marvin where Unique was. I'm not understanding that. Sir, Akbar, hey, why would you tell him anything? You are literally about to die. You are on the floor bleeding out. Everybody else at the bar is gone. Ain't nobody there to come and save you. What made you think Marvin was gonna leave you alive? I wouldn't have said a mother thing. Now, maybe in Akbar's mind, he was like, hell, if I'm going to die, Unique need to get one too. I mean, maybe it was on some old, if they got me, go get him too. I don't know. But I wouldn't have said nothing. Hell, I'm about to die anyway. Why would I tell you anything? But anyway, we'll get to that because he clearly told Marvin something. But we'll get to that. Jukebox then went over to Garcia's house and she was out front with her pow ready to take him out. But he comes out the house with his pregnant wife and his 3 kids, and they on their way to the hospital. And, she kind of, obviously, she retreats, but she ready for Garcia. Okay. Kanan and Breeze are getting ready to pull a hit on Unique. They got on ski masks. They done rolled up into Unique's apartment looking for Unique. Yeah, his family definitely saved his life. They done rolled up on, they rolled up in the apartment. Unique is not Unique is not at the apartment. Okay. He's not there. And at the same time, we see Kanan and Breeze rolling into Unique's apartment. We see Marvin, and Marvin is going down that same dirt road that we saw Unique going down at the beginning of the episode when he was going to visit Pranisha and Jerome. So we know Marvin is at the house where they were staying. Marvin pulls up. So while Unique and Kanan are in the apartment looking for, Breeze and Kanan are in the apartment looking for Unique, Marvin is at the house looking for Unique. And neither one of them find Unique. Unique's gone, right? Unique, boom, he done rolled off. And then we see Unique in a little Volvo station wagon riding off into the sunset with him and Pranisha and Jerome in the backseat sleep. And it's very symbolic that he was in the backseat sleep. Remember the beginning of the episode when Pranisha said that he hadn't been sleeping. So that lets you know that he felt there's a level of comfort there. And she was like, we just left all our stuff. You just made us leave all our stuff. He was like, we'll buy more stuff. We'll buy more stuff. And as we see him driving off, we hear Kanan's voiceover basically saying how, in his experience, Unique is the only person that he ever saw walk away. And he was like, respect. Now, with that being said, that brings me back around to one of my other theories where I said maybe at the end of this, Rock walked away. So that lets me know, or that makes me feel like Rock didn't walk away. That makes me feel like Rock didn't walk away because he said Unique was the only person that he knew that had walked away from the game. So that kind of eliminates that for me as an option for what happens to Rock at the end of this. Because like I told y'all, when it comes to the people that we know the people that we didn't see in Original Power, I feel like they don't make it out. Like either they left or they don't make it out. So we knew Marvin, Rock, and Unique. Out of the major players, those are the only major names that we don't know what happened to them, right? You know, we don't really care about the Mafia people as much. Like, I don't care about what happened to Stefano. Don't care. Snaps and Pops, we don't know what happened to them. Let me add them to the mix. We don't know what happened to Snaps and Pops. Their names never come up either in Original Power. And I'm not going to hold too much on that their names don't come up in Original Power from the perspective that their names might not come up in Original Power just because those characters weren't created. You know what I mean? Like, remember, we're working backwards. They created Power first, and then they are building the rest of these storylines. So I'm not going to put too much weight on the fact that we didn't hear Snaps and Pops' name, but we don't. So what happened to Snaps and Pops? What happened? You think Breeze is going to take them out? Oh, I told y'all my theory last week. My theory last week is that only one of them makes it out of the end of this season. I do think one of them makes it out. I just don't think both of them do. I don't think both of them make it out. I think one of them makes it out. I think one of them makes it out to get to Origins. Because we know we got Origins. They've already filmed. I think they've already filmed season 1 of Origins. So we know we have Origins. So I think at least one of them makes it to Origins. But remember, at the end of this, I think the Thomas family outside of Kanan is a wrap. We know Jukebox. I guess this is where we're going to see how Jukebox ends up. Maybe Jukebox is around in Origins. I'm not sure. Because we see Jukebox moving further and further away from Kanan and Rock. So I'm not sure where we see Jukebox at the end of this series. But we definitely know, I feel like Rock nor Marvin make it to Origins one way or the other. I really think Marvin ends up in jail. I don't think Marvin is dead. I don't think Marvin dies at the end of this. I think Marvin ends up in jail. Not sure about Rock. I thought Rock, maybe there was a chance that Rock would leave, but now after what he said on this episode, I'm like, no, I don't think Rock walks away from this. She's not in Origins, at least not as a main character. I don't think she's in Origins at all. And I don't think she's meant to be. Like, I don't think any of the Thomas family, like I said, Jukebox, obviously, we know she's there. But I don't think I don't think Marvin or Rock make it. But I think Marvin ends up, I don't know why I think Marvin ends up in jail. I don't know why. I don't know. That's not based on any facts whatsoever. That's just me. If I were writing this, I would not unalive Marvin. I would have Marvin still alive in Origins, but not as a main character, but as somebody that people could get to if they needed to. And that would be jail. Personally. You think Rock is going to die for Kanan? I don't know. I can't wait to see how the little girl connects to Marvin. I think that's his dad. I think so too, J Love. That's what I think Marvin ends up in jail. And I think that's what saves him. I think Marvin going to jail is probably what saves him from not dying. But the fact that they brought that little girl up last week, I agree. I absolutely think that they're going to make that a thing. Ooh, you know who else we need to see? Where's Xavier and Marcus? You know who else we need to see in Legacy? Proctor's daughter. We need to see her in Legacy. Hey, the writers down to Legacy. We need Proctor's daughter. We need her. We need to see her. Oh, look, I forgot they picking up the trash today. I was like, what is that noise? But I forgot they picking up the trash today because they didn't come yesterday because it was Juneteenth. I feel like Flossie Siegel is going to unalive Marvin for trying to take over her business. Ooh. Yeah, Elsa Marie. We need to see her. We need to see Elsa Marie. I think we got to see Elsa Marie, y'all. I'm sorry. I think we got to see her. Because remember, wasn't Tommy the one that, like, he saved her or something? I think we need to see Elsa Marie. Because, Origins, Legacy is back in New York. So, do y'all think we're going to get any cameos from the Tejadas? We need Don Carter in Power Legacy. I don't know. You got to tell me who that is. They just had Elsa Marie's actress on Michael Rainey's podcast. That might be some foreshadowing. Right, she's old enough now that they can bring they don't even have to age her. They can bring the real person. Mm-hmm. That might be some foreshadowing, y'all. I think we might get Diana and maybe a phone call from Drew. Okay. Oh, Michael Ealy. Oh, yeah, he did get out of town, didn't he? Oh. See, that's what I'm saying. The thing about Legacy, it leaves the door open for a lot of possibilities. I don't want them to oversaturate us with too many different storylines, but it definitely leaves the door open for them to come back around to some other stuff. Michael Ealy definitely could come back on some get back. I could see that. I want to see Elsa. I definitely want to see her because we've been talking about her since that whole thing happened. We waited for her to come back. We waited for her to come back all through book 2. We were like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? So I definitely could see that. I don't know. I think he just got demoted or something. I would have to go back and watch. Y'all be remembering all this stuff. I don't remember all this stuff like that, but I would have to go back and check it. What's this? Hold on. What's this? Child. All right, y'all, let me get out of here. So that was pretty much the episode. Do y'all think we're gonna see Tate? Please no. I like Lorenz Tate obviously as a person, but I hate Tate's character. Like we don't need Tate at all. He went to jail. Okay. All right, y'all. With that being said, let me get out of here. I will talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace.